I like to dedicate this to all of the Creator's righteous children. I have some food in my bag for you. Not that edible food, that food you eat. No, I have some food for thought. Since knowledge is infinite, it has infinitely fell on me.
Peace, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry if this lighting is kind of weird. I just got back from work. But I wanted to make this video yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to, so here I am tonight. And it's a little bit late, but also when I make videos on certain topics, I like to go in a little deeper on a topic, not just on that one topic, but expand it into different areas and genres that have to do with that topic. So today's video is going to be on Demi Lovato and her recent drug overdose. Now, this is going to have to do with Demi Lovato, but it's also going to have to do with Disney Channel, it's going to have to do with Hollywood, it's going to have to do with drug abuse, it's going to have to do with a lot of mental health issues, it's going to have to do with a lot of things, and the way that we perceive things as humans. So buckle up, it's going to be kind of a somber, it's going to be kind of a serious video, but I think it's something I need to make and want to make and have an opinion on, so just check it out, and yeah, this is all my opinion. So yeah. If you don't know, which you have to be under a rock not to know at this point, a few days ago, Demi Lovato was admitted into the hospital on a drug overdose. Now, at first, they tried to say it was a heroin overdose, but later on it came out that it was not a heroin overdose, and she never really actually was on heroin or ever did heroin. If you know anything about Demi Lovato at all or have heard anything about her over the years, you know that she has been into drugs for the longest and since she was a teenager. And her drugs of choice were always alcohol and cocaine. Now, I just recently watched yesterday her documentary on YouTube. And it actually was very sad and somber, but also was a glimmer of hope in a sea of negativity. When I learned about her backstory of how she got into drugs, why she got into drugs, and the things that affected her growing up that made her get into this bad habit, it broke my heart because no one should have to go through the things that she went through. And with Demi Lovato, it was never just drugs. It was drugs, it was having an eating disorder, it was mental health, it was a lot of things. And over time, Demi Lovato has had this very blunt reality that basically whenever something happens that she finds wrong or she just finds that isn't, going well, like with Kesha, for example. Kesha and her have very similar stories, and they both have dealt with eating disorders. They both have dealt with people abusing them and making them feel lower than themselves. And they both tried to come out and be on the other side of those naysayers and those demons that have put them down for years. And when Kesha was going through her public trial, a lot of celebrities like Taylor Swift and other people were supporting her, but like monetarily and not really with their feelings and their words and like expressing things that were going to help Kesha, right? And I think because Demi Lovato has gone through similar things as Kesha, she was able to really, really seriously on a level that was genuine, relate to what Kesha was going through. And with that, I think that, Demi Lovato really was trying to make a statement when she kind of came for Taylor Swift during that time. And she was basically saying, yeah, money's great. Money's great. But what about your words? What about your support? What about I'm actually caring about this person outside of just being somebody that it's trendy to give money to just because they're hurting. And I really appreciated a lot of that about Demi Lovato because she's one of the few Disney Channel stars that's blunt and out there in a good way. I'm going to talk about Disney Channel in a minute, but Demi Lovato, how I actually even know about her, of course, is from Disney Channel. By the time she actually starred on the Disney Channel, I was actually a little too old to be watching Disney Channel. I was about maybe like sophomore, junior in high school. And the only reason I even know about her in the first place is because of my niece and nephew. My niece and nephew were at the age where they were still heavily into Disney Channel, and Disney Channel was like their favorite thing to watch in the whole wide world. And so I first got into Demi Lovato off a little short they used to play on Disney Channel during commercial breaks called As the Bell Rings. And it was a little short where she basically was like just a student at school, and they would just go through, you know, different scenarios. And during one episode, she actually sang. And that was when I first discovered her voice. And I actually fell in love with her voice. I actually thought that she could sing really, really well. And I was really like into it. Fast forward, she becomes the star of Camp Rock, and the Jonas Brothers get involved with her and everything like that. And I'm really proud of her. You know, at the time I wasn't really into Camp Rock, but my niece and nephew were, and so I would watch it with them a lot. And Camp Rock 1 and Camp Rock 2, and you know, that was a big thing. And then she got her show Sunny with a Chance. Now, Sunny with a Chance was not my favorite show at all. I know Joe and Layla watched it, my niece and nephew, but I was never into that show at all. Like, I actually thought that show was really dumb. And it was funny because after Demi Lovato left Disney Channel, they tried to basically, because you know, Sunny with a Chance is basically a show about this cast who is on like a sketch comedy show, but it's like the behind the scenes of that sketch comedy show, right? So like, take like all that from back in the 90s, and like if it was like the behind the scenes of all that kind of thing. And so once Demi Lovato left Disney Channel, they couldn't really continue the show because she was like the main character. So they had to like think on their feet, and they decided, oh well, we'll just turn the actual sketch comedy show into a sketch comedy show. And it kind of flopped, and it really didn't have any memorable sketches like all that, or even other sketch comedy shows of its time. And so they tried but failed. And so anyways, but like during the time, like when she was on Disney Channel, she was really good and really great, and I really liked her. And then she left Disney Channel, and they didn't really fully explain in the media like why she left Disney Channel. They kind of blew it off. And then when she made her song Skyscraper back in like 2010, it kind of came out that she had like an eating disorder, and that's why she left Disney Channel, like all these things. And to me at the time, I was just like, well, Disney Channel is a toxic place, and so that makes sense, right? But then as the years went on, it kind of became more and more apparent that she has a drug problem as well. And so when they talked about her eating disorder, it wasn't a lie that they were doing. They couldn't tell kids, oh, Demi Lovato has drug issues and she likes to snort cocaine. Like, they couldn't say that to kids, because kids like 5 years old and up, like 5 to 12, like were in love with Demi Lovato, and they didn't know about that crap. So like they couldn't be like, yep, kids, you know, Demi Lovato, she loves to snort coke. Like, that, they wouldn't understand that. And I also think it was kind of wrong for them to like chalk it up to only her eating disorder, because then that puts a wrong image in kids' minds anyways. But to intro into Disney Channel, so Disney Channel I've been watching since I was about 8 years old, and I'm an OG Disney Channel watcher, right? Now, I know there are going to be people who will dispute and be like, well, I'm actually an OG one from like the 90s, like the early 90s. I watched Mickey Mouse Club and all these things. But I'm like an OG Disney Channel fan as like we know it today, with like the Disney Channel original movies and like the sitcoms and like all those types of things. So when I was watching Disney Channel, you know, Even Stevens was huge, Lizzie McGuire was huge, That's So Raven was huge. There were like a lot of shows that were like really big on the channel that made superstars out of these actors and actresses, right? And so for me, I didn't see anything wrong with Disney Channel at the time, and I'll tell you why. Disney Channel when I was growing up was a more calm, more chill, more just basically it was more realistic. You know, the shows they were even showing were more realistic, you know? Like Even Stevens, which is a show about two siblings who didn't get along. That's so relatable. You know, Lizzie McGuire was just about a girl going through her everyday life in middle school. Like, that's relatable. You know, That's So Raven, although she has psychic powers, really wasn't that unrelatable. You know, yeah, I have psychic powers. That's the unrelatable part. But I'm just an average everyday teenager going through life. And I feel like even if they had the show That's So Raven, right? But didn't have her have psychic powers, the show still would have worked, because Raven-Symoné has comedic timing like this. I love love her comedic timing. But like, if they had just made the show about a teenager going through wacky situations and how they fail, it still would have been hilarious. That's the whole point. And so that's why the first 3 really big shows on Disney Channel worked so well. And then you had The Sweet Life, which was a good show, but sort of unrealistic. And then the most unrealistic show that catapulted Disney Channel into just an unrealistic level of unrealism was Hannah Montana. Hannah Montana was not realistic at all. It was about a white girl who during the day was just a normal high schooler, but at night became this secret pop star with blonde hair and blue eyes and was crazy, right? So that's unrealistic for most kids, you know what I mean? Because who can become that? And it just, I think, kind of put the wrong image into a lot of kids' heads about Hannah Montana and about being this blonde pop star, you know what I mean? And I feel like Hannah Montana was really what Disney Channel was trying to strive for. In the early days of Disney Channel, I will admit, yes, they had music on Disney Channel. They always had, they always will. They had the Mickey Mouse Club in the early 90s with, Christina and Britney and JT and all the people. And yes, they sung. So I'm not going to say Disney Channel back in the day did not have singing, but it became such an epidemic after Hannah Montana and High School Musical that they had to make everything else in the history of Disney Channel about singing, about performing. Like every other show, every other movie had to have some type of song go with it, or it had to be some type of musical. And I think they just put too much pressure on a lot of Disney Channel kids to be these people that they are not. And I think that Disney Channel, especially, so when I was growing up, I had Even Stevens, so I had Chrissy Carlson Romano, who played Ren Stevens and also played the voice of Kim Possible, who I am actually excited to see the new live action version, although nervous. But anyways, then you had Hilary Duff, who played Lizzie McGuire, and you had Raven, who played That's the Raven, Raven Baxter. And so those 3, were able, for a long time, Raven went through her period, but we won't talk about that. But for a really long time, Christy Carlson Romano, Hilary Duff, and Raven were able to transition away from Disney Channel in a very okay way. Meaning, basically, they were able to go from Disney Channel and not really be in the spotlight, not really have any scandals, not really have to deal with the media at its every whim, you know what I mean? Like, the media just wasn't there, you know what I mean? They were able to transition out and go live normal lives for about 10 years until they decided to come out of the woodworks and be more in the spotlight with maybe social media or having new shows or whatever. But they were not, with Miley Cyrus, right? Miley Cyrus, the minute she was done with Hannah Montana, which is like 2010 or something, I can't really remember, 2010, 11 or something like that. The minute she's finished with Hannah Montana, right, she's such a big superstar by that time that the media is on her every freaking move, and it kind of puts a burden on her and makes it so that when she does decide she wants to become a full-fledged adult and go through her adultness, she's not able to in a real way. And yes, she did a lot of things during her whole twerking, her whole hip-hop, her whole I'm edgy phase that she went through, which I still to this day cannot stand, and it really bothers me. But I feel like if she had done this outside of the media and outside of the spotlight, no one probably would have cared, and probably because we wouldn't have it wouldn't have been a big deal. But because she transitioned straight from Hannah Montana to this lifestyle, everybody looked at her different. Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez went from What is a Waverly Place to dating Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber was toxic. And you know, he was going through his thing trying to become an adult as well, and together it just made a toxic mix of two people trying to become adults and not being able to because the media is on their every move, you know. And Demi Lovato dealt with the same thing, but she only dealt with it a lot earlier, and why she got kicked off the Disney Channel, or why she decided to step down a lot earlier. And I just feel like Disney Channel has a lot to do with a lot of the ways that these stars are dealing with their lives, you know what I mean, and why they have such a hard time dealing with their lives after Disney Channel, because I feel like Disney Channel makes them do a lot of things that they might not otherwise do, you know what I mean? And so I feel like that had a lot to do with Demi Lovato. And I mean, watching her documentary was very eye-opening. You got to learn about her dad and the way that he had bipolar disorder and was basically very abusive. That because he was an alcoholic and he just, drugs and alcohol were his every love, and he couldn't basically bring that love to Demi and her family. It hurt her a lot, and so that's probably why she kind of went into drugs and alcohol. But also because of bullies. And bullies just irritate the shit out of me. I can't deal with that, okay? I don't understand why there are people out there, why there are teenagers out there, why there are kids out there who think it's so cute and so cool to make somebody else feel like shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's so lame. Like, you know, Demi was saying how when she was like 12 years old, she was like a little chubby. And so who cares? You're 12 years old. Like, who the fuck cares? You're 12 years old. You're going to be a little chubby. It is what it is. But for some reason, these kids thought it was super cool and super, you know, whatever, to basically tell Demi that she needs to kill herself, that she's too fat, that she's all these things, that she needs to just slit her wrist or do whatever. Like, they were saying some awful things to her, and she took it to heart, of course, because she's like 12, 13. So in that time, you know, she was showing us this board that she used to have, where she used to put very, very bad and unhealthy looking models, unhealthy looking people on this board and try to strive to be these people. And that's what led to her eating disorder, and it really, really bothered her. And I think, you know, the combination between an eating disorder and going through, you know, drug abuse is not good for you. If you're not eating right, and then you're on top of that, you're snorting this foreign substance and putting it in your body, you're just going to basically not be able to live a healthy life. And that's just bad, like really, really bad. And, you know, towards the end of the documentary, she showed us the good side of Demi Lovato and how she was trying to live her life, you know, drug-free and dealing with her eating disorder. And, you know, she said that she was a purger, she was bulimic, she was anorexic, she was all these things for a long time. And they even showed on camera that she admitted to slipping up and purging again one time, where she was like supposed to be in her sober state, but she was not, and she actually, you know, reneged, which is, you know, something that happens. You know, I think a lot of people assume that if you get sober and clean, or you deal with an issue that you're having, and you know you haven't done that thing in a long time, and you probably aren't going to do it for a long time, it's still something that's in the back of your head. Like, it's still something that's going to be in the back of your head for a long time, because for some reason the chemical imbalance in your brain tells you that you did this once, and it's something that feels sort of comfortable to you, that you can do it again. No matter how many years you haven't done it, some way, shape, or form, if something bad happens in your life, you can renege, you can relapse, and that's just not good. You know what I mean? And she talked about that. She talked about how one time she actually did go back and purge, and she at least had the gall to tell the people in her life, yes, I did it again, and I need help. And I think that was beautiful. I honestly think that was super beautiful. But with this last kind of relapse that she had with her drug addiction, she, at the end of the documentary, talked about how for the first time in her whole entire life, she lived by herself in Hollywood. And it was beautiful to see her really clean, really happy, you know, exploring her sexuality, just being a free and happy woman. And I really kudos and was happy about that for her. So it was so sad when they reported that she had a relapse. You know, because for the first few you know, a whole day, people were on edge because they didn't know if she had actually passed away, because they couldn't report whether she was awake or not until the next day. And when they reported the next day that she had actually woke up, her family was with her and everything, it was really great. But we just have lost way too many beautiful souls, especially celebrity souls, that have passed away because of drugs, have passed away because of suicide, have passed away because of these negative thoughts. And, you know, this whole Demi thing comes about a week after Chester Bennington's 1-year anniversary of his passing, and about 2 months after the 1-year anniversary of Chris Cornell's passing. And for me, that was just, it was very kind of triggering, because Chris Cornell actually passed away of medication that he was taking. And so if you want to actually see a video that I did on Chris Cornell's passing and drug addiction in Hollywood and all these types of things, you can check it out. It's probably linked above or whatever. But you know, I kind of talked about how, you know, drug addiction in Hollywood is really scary, because Hollywood is also a very toxic place, and because a lot of people who come into Hollywood are highly gifted, but also have a lot of demons that they're dealing with from their past lives before they got into Hollywood. And so when they get into Hollywood, Hollywood doesn't care about your issues that you're going through with yourself. They don't care at all. So they just exploit those issues because they know it's going to make your art better, and they don't care if it kills you. And for a lot of people, it does. It kills them. It harms them in a very negative way. You know, Corey Monteith, you know, passed away not even maybe 5 years ago from Glee. And, you know, that's really sad, because you know, it's just, there's a lot of people who have dealt with these drug issues and haven't been able to get the help that they need. And they've also dealt with these suicide issues and these mental health issues and have not been able to get the help they need. And they lost the battle. And I'm just really, really, really happy that Demi is alive, that she is awake, and that she is with her family. But she could have been another casualty, and it's just sad to think that there are so many people out there dealing with these issues. And you know, you had the Amy Winehouses of the world, you know, Corey Monteith, you know, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, you know, so many beautiful souls with so much to offer in this world, musically, spiritually, through their acting, through their art. Like, they just had so much to offer, and sadly didn't make it. And so it's just beautiful to see that she's awake with her family, and hopefully will get the help that she needs, because it's sad, and we shouldn't have to see this take another one, you know. We just shouldn't see it. But you know, I also think that, especially with people like Demi Lovato, like Miley Cyrus, like Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, you know, Shia LaBeouf, all these people who were once child stars trying to grow up in this industry, I really think that people really need to cut them some slack, because for a lot of things, you know, they're trying to grow up. They're trying to come into their 20s. They're trying to come and they're trying to be these adults that they know they're supposed to be. And it's really hard when everybody still sees them as these 5-year-old kids or these 10-year-old kids or these teenagers, and they're trying to be these adults. And it's hard because no one gives them the benefit of being a young adult. You know what I mean? They're going to make mistakes. They're going to mess up. Things are going to happen. But no one gives them that benefit because they still see them as young. And so when they mess up, when they say the wrong things, when they do the wrong things, everybody gets on their back about it. But it's like they're trying to grow up in this industry, and it's really hard because everybody's staring at them. Everybody's looking at them. Everybody's analyzing their every move. And I just think that's wrong. I think that's really messed up. And I just think that, you know, we really need to take a step back when it comes to these celebrities. You know what I mean? Yes, these celebrities are there. They put their heart out there. You know, they make the music, they make the art, they make the movies, they make whatever. But that does not mean that us as fans have to go so crazy about it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to be that intimate with these people. If they bring their heart out and they want to be intimate with us, fine. But we don't need to pry. We don't need to pry into their lives like we're crazy and make just rude comments to them too. Like with this whole Demi thing, like there have been so many rude comments on the internet about this, and it just really hurts my heart because Demi is going through a lot and you don't need to be out there making it worse. You know what I mean? And so I really appreciate the different artists and people out there who reached out to her, like Joe Jonas, of course, and like Ariana Grande and Kesha, and like all these people who have also gone through their own things and know Demi really well are reaching out to her. And I just think that's really beautiful because I feel like there needs to be this community. There needs to be more of a community and less of like the shaming of things. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be shaming these celebrities for the things that they do. Yes, there are things that celebrities do that are not right. And we should shame those celebrities that do those wrong things. But when you're a celebrity who's just trying to navigate the world as, you know, in your 20s or even in your 30s, 40s, 50s, like it doesn't matter what age really, but you're just trying to navigate the world in your own time, in your own space, and we're the celebrities or the fans of these celebrities are out here making things worse by just being really mean and saying really awful things to these people. It's just wrong. And I just think it's wrong in general, celebrity or not, to say these things to people because I don't care if you're on the internet. I don't care. You're still saying evil and mean and hurtful things to people, which lead to people's deaths. They lead to people's demises. They lead to people doing awful, crazy things to themselves because you said something really, really mean to them on the internet. And I just think it's really wrong. And I really think it's something that we just need to break the cycle of. You know what I mean? Because it's never that serious. None of this at all. This social media thing, this internet thing, this YouTube thing, this internet thing, this Twitter thing, this YouTube thing, this Instagram thing, this Facebook thing, none of this, and I mean absolutely none of this is that serious. It's not. None of this is that serious. And I just don't understand why people continue to make it that serious. Because it's not. So what if this person doesn't like something that you said? Big deal. It doesn't mean you have to say that they are the scum of the earth. They should go kill themselves. Like that's so dumb and stupid. You know what I mean? You don't know what people are dealing with in the inside because you're not that person. You don't know them. You're only commenting on their little thing from your little account with your little egg because you're too scared to even show your face. So you sit there on your little keyboard typing away mean little comments because you have issues with your own damn life, which is sad, and you need to cut it out. And so for everybody who has been saying awful and mean things about Demi Lovato just because you can and because you think that it's funny, just know that you should just cut it out because it's not that serious. It is not that serious. Anyways, I just wanted to come on here, send a lot of love to Demi Lovato, and to just remind people that it's never that serious. So don't be assholes on the internet. And that Hollywood and Disney Channel and many different parts of the entertainment industry can be very toxic, and it's hard for people who are going through their, trying to grow up from being teenagers to live normal lives in Hollywood with everybody down their throat. And so I just feel like we need to give them a little bit more slack, a little bit more credit, and just let them be happy living their life as the young adults that they should be. You know what I mean? And let them go through phases, I mean, yes, I'm never ever going to be able to fully in my heart of hearts be like, yeah, that whole Miley Cyrus twerking phase was cool. She was just being Miley, right? Because I'm never going to be able to do that. That actually irks me on a racial level, so we're not going to get into that, but like, what I basically mean is that we really need to leave these celebrities alone and let them grow up on their own and stop just scrutinizing everything they do, because it doesn't help them and it just makes you all as the fans look like jerks. So yeah, I just want to come on here. This is my 2 cents on like the whole thing, and yeah, rest happy, Demi Lovato. Get lots of rest, and take all the time you need to recover from this and get your life back on track. I also listened to Demi Lovato's song Sober, which is also really dark and really sad. You know what I mean? Like, it's called Sober for a reason. she's talking about how she broke being sober. And in the documentary that I watched on her, she said that she was sober for like 6 years. And she just broke her sobriety, and it really, really hit home. It really was sad. And, you know, it's sad to say that somebody like that, going through that much, couldn't last. And I'm not saying that she's not going to be able to last again. Like I said, you have chemical imbalances in your brain that can trigger off at any moment when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling hurt, when you're feeling depressed, all these things. And I don't blame her at all for having a relapse, because that stuff happens. It just happens. And so I just want her to know that I don't blame her, and I just send her a lot of love and a lot of praise for being very, very strong and being a very strong person. And yeah, you know, I actually would love for her and Kesha to do a duet together, because I feel like they have very similar stories, and both have gone through really hard heartache in their life, and probably could make a really hopeful and really uplifting song that would be so cool and so awesome. And yeah, but yeah, just sending a lot of love to you, Demi, and I hope that you're doing better, and I hope you get lots of rest, and I hope that you just are recovering really well. And I'm in your corner, because, you know, I actually do like you as one of the few Disney Channel stars that I actually like. So yeah, this is just my 2 cents on everything, and I just wanted to film it and get my opinion out there. So yeah, until next time, my beautiful indigos and starseeds, be well. Peace and blessings.